Yeah, great. Hello, Ben.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you again.
my pleasure.
You know, I picked you up a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
We talked about lots of different things, about certain charities
Yes.
that some friends that you know of are involved in. We talked about the political situation
Yeah.
in Nigeria
Yeah.
and your perspective on what you think the best solution is. So I was explaining that I've got a neighbour. He's a professor. Solomon is super proactive in trying to call for the division of Nigeria. So I pick up lots of Nigerians. So it's always interesting whether you're Nigerian or not, if you've got a perspective on it, of what the solution is, because Nigeria is a very rich, resourceful country and it should be so much more prosperous than what it is right now, and people just feel it's being held back. So it's good to explore solutions. So from speaking to you previously, you was a big supporter of Tinubu.
Yeah. Firstly, we'll.
Yeah, just continuing. Yes.
Nigerian problem is basically it's fundamental. That's been from a long time ago. From people who are politically oriented. From what we learned from Nigeria, the amalgamation from different sects, Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, have greatly contributed to the development of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Very much. So, if we come to this end of calling for division at this end, I believe it's a driving backward at this point. So, we can move forward by continuing the good relation between the three sects or all sects in Nigeria. So we can still do it well, like the way they have done it earlier. During those days, back in the ages, Nigeria is a very good country. They are doing very well. Before we were born, and we heard the history, we read about it, and then we have some evidences that proves Nigeria is a great country.
What
and has
you-
been performing very well.
Sorry, what time frame are you on about when Nigeria was doing so well? Just to narrow it down, what year
Yeah,
approximately?
approximately during the independence time.
Okay,
So the independence was in 1960.
okay,
So between 1960, 1963, and the likes, everything was going on very well.
okay. So what changed?
So when there is a democracy in Nigeria, and then we took the Nigerian was they took over the power, controlling the country. As a Nigerian wanted to be controlling Nigeria themselves, like the government.
So are you
So
talking?
you know we were colonized by the British.
British, okay.
So
Are you saying it was prosperous then?
yeah, during those time everything was going on very well.
Okay, so are you
As we
saying
learned.
that was a good thing with Britain basically colonizing? Because no one wants colonization, but at the same time you're saying Nigeria was more prosperous under the British.
I think Nigeria was more prosperous during those times.
Okay,
So it's supposed to continue the same way it is then.
okay,
But the colonization, I think, the end of colonization comes earlier than expected,
okay,
which brought out some issues
okay,
so among the leaders then.
okay,
So during those times, we were talking about Obafemi Awolowo and the likes.
okay,
So, and in those eras, we heard things were going very nicely in Nigeria.
okay,
Now, things have changed drastically as time goes on,
okay,
based on the changes in the leadership of
okay.
the government.
So we're talking 40 odd years then,
Yeah.
since post
Yeah,
British, and things are still problematic.
things are getting more problematic each years as it passed. So now it has gotten worse. Like let's say between 1960 to present, it's more than 50 years now.
Okay.
So things are getting more deteriorated every day.
Okay.
Now, I could say, if we are talking about the present government and people are calling for the vision of because of what is happening presently, things has got bad back to about 50 years now.
Okay.
So what we need to study, what was the trend of what was happening then and what has changed till present.
Okay.
So to myself, I have said now that there are changes in the leadership.
Yeah.
Which we believe the intentions of our leaders back in the ages were pure, and the present ones that we are having in the present government, they doesn't have a pure intention, and then the let me say the care of the citizens in their heart. They don't.
Okay.
They only care about themselves mostly.
Okay.
So you see only one person embezzling billions of naira from the country money. They are looting it. As a politician, the past CBN governor from the past administration actually looted a lot of money.
Okay.
If you are current about that, about a year, 2 years ago, you'll be listening to EFCC. This is the crime monitoring team.
Okay.
So the EFCC pursuing, maybe I could, because everybody knows his name, Emefiele.
Okay.
He was the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Okay.
So and he looted a lot of money. Even at the point of running out of Nigeria, he was arrested.
Okay.
So a lot of billions of nairas, a lot of houses for only one person. And this is what is not in the heart of our past leaders.
Okay.
That is why they are patriotic. But now we doesn't have a patriotic leaders.
Okay. So
by the way, we still have little of them. Few of them are still present, but they are not much.
Okay. So who are the patriotic leaders? Do you feel, because some people accuse Tinubu also for stealing and looting the country?
Yeah.
You mentioned something previously about him donating.
Yeah.
Something what others don't do.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah. About Tinubu, it is a different agent. So you might see it as something better, and then another people might see it as something different.
Of course, perspective.
So in different perspective, because if you have 100 people as a friend, you might not be good to all of them.
Of course.
So some people will love you the way purely, and then to others we have a different intentions on you.
Always.
So
the case.
I knew about the Tinubu when he was the governor of Lagos State. He served 2 terms in Lagos State, and everyone will tell you, if everyone want to be very, very pure in their intentions and in their saying, they will tell you Tinubu is a very good man that turned Lagos to something very better it is today.
Okay.
This man, when he wanted to leave the post of governorship, I think that was around 2003, specifically, if I'm right. So when he's leaving the office, he left money in the state account.
Okay.
The money is, I think, around 250 billion naira.
Okay. Wow.
No governor has ever done that in the history of Nigeria. And he saved the money and tried to prepare the incoming governor for the account of the state. He prepared the account of the state for the incoming governor to spend the money wisely. And he has made the format of what you have to spend on, what you have to do. And they have designed everything. Lagos was designed the way it is today by the said Tinubu we are talking about. And And this is one of the platforms that made him the president today.
Okay.
Since this time he left the office, I have been expecting this man to become the president of Nigeria. As I've said earlier.
Yeah.
I said it. Because that time we see the street of Lagos, and then we see the changes, how it happens when he was the governor and when he left the office. So
Okay.
immediately he left the office, it was BRF. It was BRF.
Okay.
So and then he has laid the foundations of there is money already in the state account for him to and then he has laid every other state, the policies and everything has been made for the coming governor.
Okay.
So we believe if he can still do what he did in Lagos, in Nigeria, and then things will be better. Perhaps Nigeria is a bigger one. It's a country, not state.
Yeah.
And when he was a governor, then he's still agile, very strong.
Okay.
Now he might be of ages.
Okay.
A little, so which might not give him more power as he wants when he was still young.
Okay.
So what a young person can do, and the way he will handle it will be different from how an older ones we handle it.
Of course.
So if you look into Ibrahim Traore, he is
Okay.
very young now.
Yeah.
And so he is very young, and he can do some things. He can move around. He can do this. So that's same applicable when you compare Traore with Tinubu this time. Tinubu is an elderly one now. He's aged.
Yeah.
So if you consider their age, he is about 70 years. Let's say that. And then Traore will be maybe, if I'm
young,
not,
24, 25.
he's very young.
Very young. Yeah?
Very young.
Relatively.
So if we to be realistically, we will believe that okay, fine. At a young age, if you want to do something, you have the tendency of doing it more better than
Of course.
when you are aged.
Of course.
So that itself might be one of the differences between them.
Okay. Can I add to that also? Because previously you said that Tinubu's hands are tied by the legislative process.
Yeah.
But then other people feel that he is the legislative process because he's got his finger and influence in it.
Yeah. While you are asking my intentions on Tinubu, on people's view,
Yeah.
that whether he is bad or good.
Yeah.
I told you, Tinubu is known to be good.
Okay.
Right from the governor's time.
Okay.
When he was the governor, he's a good one. So even after he left, I know this man. I don't know him physically,
Okay.
but I knew him in the political trend.
Yes.
As a Nigerian, I knew him in political trend. We do follow all politicians and then what they do, and we know the one that have good intentions.
Patriotic.
We know the one that are patriotic. We know the one that have the care of citizens at heart. So this man has something that if he told you he will do something, he will try as much as possible to make it fulfilled. And if he promise you he will do this, he will try to do that. And if you look into some people, these are part of something that is good about good people. They said, I will do this, and they try as much as possible to do it.
And you feel
He doesn't lie.
Okay, and you feel he's the man, the president to do it.
So presently, everything he promised in his manifesto while he was campaigning as the president, he is actually making it done.
Delivering.
He's delivering them.
I don't know whether it was the previous election or a year before. A few years ago, I picked up another Nigerian guy,
Yeah.
and there was an election, and he feels the candidate
Yeah.
that had the most support
So,
got
okay.
robbed.
Oh,
What was his name?
yeah. If I could guess right, we got 3 main candidates
Yeah.
as at that time. let me say, three main candidates, because we
Okay.
still have more than them. We have Tinubu
Yes.
contesting APC, and then we have Atiku Abubakar from PDP.
Okay.
So, and then we have Peter Obi.
Peter Obi, I think
We have
that
Peter
was the
Obi,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
from Labour Party.
Okay.
We still have another strong one, which is Ibrahim Kwankwaso. So from ANPP, I think, something like that. So, or NMPP. So these four candidates, they are, let me say, they are major candidates.
Okay.
So in the gubernatorial race,
Yeah.
in the race of the general elections as a president. So Tinubu won the election, and a lot of people, because they maybe let's say some sect of Nigerians,
Okay.
they believe it is the turn of Igbo side,
Okay.
because we have Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba as a major ethnics in Nigeria. So because the Igbos have not been the president.
Okay.
They have not been elected as the president.
There's
of
been
Nigeria
a Hausa, Yoruba.
since,
Okay.
Yes. So it's been Hausa and Yoruba. So at this time, so we have some part of set of Yoruba leaders even supporting that. Okay, we should try and make Igbos the president. And this aspect, when during the elections, one of the things that Nigerians capitalizes was Tinubu is aged. That we want someone who is younger.
You're like, okay.
Now, because Peter Obi is younger, among these three, Atiku, Tinubu, and Peter Obi is younger. So some youths believe Peter Obi will be good enough to serve in the office. As I have said earlier, the difference between when you are talking about Tinubu and Traore, now that what you can do at young age will be better than what you can do sometimes at
older age,
when you are old in age.
Yes.
So that is what the perspective some people believe, that okay, Peter Obi is younger and then can do more better than Tinubu, of which while some other people believe he is experienced politically. Why they say he is experienced politically? This man has been in politics from his youth age.
Tinubu.
Yes. He followed Awolowo. He followed MKO Abiola during their own time.
Okay.
So he knows in and out of the Nigerian politics.
Okay.
So that is why a lot of people in Nigeria believe Tinubu is more experienced, having worked with and served in different offices with some past leaders.
Okay.
So he can do more better with his experiences, no matter his age. And having been the governor of the center of excellence in Nigeria, which is Lagos State,
okay,
which is the center of economy in Nigeria. So, and he has transformed it to a better place today. So we believe, and Nigerians believe, he can still do that. So, and transform Nigeria into a better one.
Okay. So see the way you keep saying, like, what percentage-wise out of 100%, what's the ratio? Would you say it's 60% Tinubu and maybe 30% Peter and then maybe 10% everybody else? What's the ratio on them major parties?
On the parties?
Yeah, but the ones you mentioned before, Tinubu, yeah. Peter Obi, is it?
Yeah.
And
what actually happened is in Nigeria, what they based it on is it is not really on the figures. If you vote, you have 100 people, but we have different regions in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So the three regions, you must have, at least have, let's say we have three regions, you must win from each of the region.
Okay, so
now, if you don't win,
Yoruba.
Yes.
Okay.
If you win from Yoruba side, because you are Yoruba, if you win from Yoruba, you must win from Hausa, or you must win from Igbo. Okay. So if you have like 2/3, you win from Hausa and you win from Yoruba, definitely you might be declared as a winner.
Okay.
So if your people because our Hausa have a majority in the numbers in Nigeria.
Okay.
They are majority in numbers, so they have the highest numbers of people in Nigeria. So if you are counting 1, 2, 3, they have highest. So based on that, if you compete with them, definitely they should have the highest number of votes.
Okay.
Because he is an Hausa man and his people will actually vote for him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't base like that. So they said, okay, for you, you must win from Hausa and then you must win from any other ethnics as well.
Okay.
So if you win from another one and then you fail from this one, you fail from the other one, then you might not be declared as a winner.
Okay. So
based on
Tinubu must have...
Tinubu have the average, he won the election based on the average score.
So he's got some from Hausa,
He got
from Yoruba.
Hausa, from Yoruba.
Okay.
So let's say he won from Yoruba as the first, and then from Igbo he won second, and then pick second, I think second or first from the Hausas as well.
Okay, I understand. So what about election fraud? Does that happen? Is it because some people feel there was fraud?
Election fraud in Nigeria is something that has been occurring from ages.
Okay.
And to the past election, it has been reduced drastically on every past government. They are trying to reduce it, and specifically this past government, that is Muhammadu Buhari government. Buhari is a very loyal man, and is someone who is very honest, as people believe in. He doesn't care about giving it to someone or something. He wants to be transparent, and he wants them to compete, and anybody that won will be declared as the winner.
Okay, so he's got integrity.
So he's an integrity man, as we could say.
And you feel he's the
election fraud has been reduced to the minimum.
To the minimum. Yeah. Okay, so that's progress.
Yeah.
It's a problem probably in many countries.
Yeah.
So I think what you're explaining is that there's solutions and mechanisms in place.
Yeah.
And it's improving.
It's improving.
And that's all people can ask for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what do you think about Boko Haram? Because there seems to be, correct me if I'm wrong, there seems to be a lot of influence.
Yeah, you will notice that the Boko Haram effect has been reduced drastically to the minimum at this point now.
Okay.
Back in ages feel like 4 years ago, you'll be hearing over the news every day.
Yeah.
There is bomb blast, there's killings and the likes. Now, over 2 years, going to 2 years now, let me say. Going to 2 years now, there is changes in the government. I've not been hearing there is bomb blast, there is killing, there is this in the northern side of Nigeria. It has been reduced.
Okay.
Very well.
Yeah.
And there is a very good development on that, which everyone can testify to that.
Okay.
Everyone living in Nigeria.
Yeah, because I did remember years ago, I must admit, but obviously I don't live in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can remember one time they seem to be on the news a lot.
Yeah.
But even though they're not on the news, I just wanted to know, are they still very proactive? I think you're saying yes, but not as much as they was.
Yes, but it's not as more as it is before.
Okay. So that's progress.
Yeah, that's a progress.
Okay. Very interesting. So what's the unity? So where my professor, the professor I know, he wants the division. Most Nigerians I speak to, I'd say 7 out of 10 want unity.
Yeah.
But then others feel like it's hard to have that marriage of, let's say, the north with the other parts of Nigeria because of the different perspectives. But the other, I'd say 4 out of 10 people I speak to, they just feel unity is the only way because there's so many integration in the sense of like a lot of people married to different of them tribes. Sects. So to divide is just nonsensical.
Yeah, because over the ages we have come inside one another. So we have Hausa people living with Yoruba people.
Exactly.
We have Igbo people living with Yoruba people, and then we have Yoruba living in Hausa and Igbo land. So it might not be very possible to say everyone should leave the land and then go to their different regions now. So why? Because most of them have come into married each other and then they give birth to children. So it is not possible for me to say, okay, my wife is Igbo and then we give birth to our children. Now can we divide them and then say, okay, where are they going? Are they Yoruba or are they Igbo? so
it's just it's
and
not...
according to the law, the law doesn't say we are all citizens of Nigeria.
Okay.
So the law doesn't divide it, and we have the binding law that guides all of us as one in Nigeria. So we are one.
Yeah,
so
it's impossible, even though...
for now it's impossible.
Okay.
For now it's impossible, but there is nothing that is impossible when we come into to the world now. So everything is possible. Let's say if we want to make it like, okay, each of them should stand alone on their different land. So, but it will not affect people. This will be defined as where you want to belong to. That is where you can stay.
Okay.
But what that is moving backward in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Moving forward as something that brings about the progress is the unity, working together.
Definitely.
When we cooperate and then we work as one.
1,000,000%.
So that is what we can do in Nigeria.
I think that's universal for most of the problems in the world.
Yeah.
Collaboration, unity, working together, because everything, even though I feel a professor's heart is in the right place because of it's his country and he just wants to see prosperity.
Yes.
I just don't think practically it could just work.
If professor would be maybe possibly they are studying the trend of behavior of some people, some sect in the country, while Hausa people, they have their own culture. Yoruba have different culture, and then the Igbo, they have different culture. But if you look it in that way, you might support the division. Like, okay, we have different culture, we have different language, different heritage entirely. So let's separate and then we manage things separately. But they bring things together for development, and things have been massively developing. So why are we trying to separate them again and then go backward?
Yeah, no, I understand your point. A Yoruba girl I picked up, and she was explaining that each main tribe, of course there's thousands of other tribes, but we're talking about the main ones.
While even some people will be claiming some of the region they have resources, while the other one doesn't have some resources.
That's what she was saying.
But we all have resources. While you have mineral resources, there are some other ones that they have human resources.
Yeah.
So everything, we all have resources, and then they are contributing to the development of Nigeria. So if we look at it that way, we both collaborate and then work together, and then everything is developing.
No, totally, yeah. I think that's the best solution. I've tried to see if the professor will come on and give us his perspective, but I think because he's a professor and he's super academic, he gives me lots of papers, and he says that these debates and these discussions are basically done online with professional papers, and basically people of his caliber will debate and discuss this online in that scientific world. So that's
if this professor is from
Yoruba.
Yeah. We have a lot of Yoruba youths and Yoruba elders that are calling for Yoruba nations these days.
Oh, okay.
So they will say, we want Yoruba to have their own country. We want Igbo to have. You have some set of Igbo people, the Biafras. They are calling for the Biafra country.
Okay.
They want to stand alone as well.
Yeah. So
at that point, I think it might go to some point where there might be a consensus. There might be a common idea that, okay, if you want to go, you can go on this, you can go on this. But for the division, I believe it's not coming this time around.
Okay.
This era.
So what's the solutions then from a unity point of view to try and fix Nigeria's problems? Infrastructure,
I
poverty.
believe the problem of calling for segregation is coming from the politics as well.
Oh, okay.
It's coming from the politics. Why some of them were calling that we want our different nations is because of the effect of political frauds as well.
Okay.
Why some sects are doing are being the president, while other sects are not being made the president. It's
Okay.
something that is aggressive.
Some will say a bit tribal.
Exactly, because let me say Hausa and Yoruba, they have been the president of Nigeria. Then why not Igbo?
Okay.
What is disturbing? Why are we not making Igbo president as well?
Okay.
So if we both know that okay, this is a common property, then
Yeah.
we should share it as a common property as well.
Yeah.
So we can share it commonly,
Yeah.
equally. So we both contribute to the development. Then we should both share it as well.
And
equally.
you understand their perspective?
Yes. Really, what is there is if this politically, if things changed, and actually, I think this present government is now working tirelessly on changing some policies in Nigeria, even political laws.
Okay.
There are in every corners of Nigeria, every sector of Nigeria can handle any post in Nigeria, and they have made it known, although they do not restrict anybody from contesting.
Okay.
Every set we contest, but there is bias. To be honest, there is this bias in making Hausa and Yoruba the president of Nigeria. And
Okay.
try as much as possible to not make Igbos the president of Nigeria.
Is there a reason specifically for that?
Actually, while we might think there is not a specific reason, and they have in the history that the other set, which is Igbos, they are the one agitating too much for the power. They wanted the seat. Let me say it's just the Game of the Throne.
Okay.
So as a Game of the Throne, they want it from on their side too much. Maybe because they have not been there before, and then they wanted to be there.
Okay.
So I believe they should be tested with power, but at least one time.
Yeah. So you can understand obviously their motivation.
I can understand if you might felt very hungry aggressively when you are being deprived of something.
Yeah, totally understand.
Yeah.
Can we just touch on also, see for example before when we talked about post-colonization and Nigeria being given its independence. So this will apply to a lot of other African countries, yeah? So let's say what's going on with Burkina Faso, yeah? So once again, my limited understanding is sometimes when these countries are given independence, quote, officially they are independent, but you will have multinationals basically operating through the back door of the economy and keeping them basically limiting their progress. This is something that Abraham has been very vocal of with the French, because he feels that ultimately they were doing the same thing and they were giving Burkina basically poor deals on resources in their country. Now, and then what happens there, you might get, let's say Burkina Faso will hand over the country and say that it's independent, or Nigeria, but the leaders of that country will be in bed with multinational corporations that basically prevent, let's say, Burkina or Nigeria from progressing. Does that make sense?
If I could get you very well, if
so Abraham was basically saying that the French have still got a hand in Burkina and they're preventing Burkina Faso from growing. So then he's taken over through the coup, which he feels he done the coup because the previous president was in bed with the French, and Sankara, I think his predecessor, was assassinated. So I don't know the ins and outs of Nigeria, but I think basically what Abraham's trying to say is there's still Western influence in Burkina Faso from Europe.
Yes.
And some people will argue that it's the same. So even though Nigeria's got its independence, there is still a lot of Western influence regards the resources in Nigeria. Do you think that's an element?
It's part of the helmet as well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of resources in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Nigeria is a blessed country.
Yes.
Very. I think, come to mention it, we have as much as resources. We should be wealthy in Nigeria.
Like Dubai, the Emirates.
Like Dubai, as you said.
Yeah.
So we have petroleum resources and so many other resources in Nigeria, so which we can use. And at the same time, I think there are so many Western influences in Nigeria as well. And these influences also are contributing to moving forward and backward.
Okay. Good
Forward
point.
and backward of African countries.
Positive
generally.
and negative, yeah?
Positive and negative.
Yeah. Like in everything, yeah?
Yeah. So like this, we might also say yes to what Traore is trying to say and what he's doing now.
Okay.
To take control of Burkina Faso.
Okay.
So, and you will say this has actually happens in most of African countries.
Okay.
When during their colonization ages. So when they want to end the colonizations, so it's possibly they plan a coup or something happens, and then so in that of the history of Nigeria as well. Definitely, it wasn't a coup anyway. So, but it was coup underneath. It was coup underneath. So a lot of things happens when there is a transitioning, during the transitioning. So, and then that is why in Nigerians, and then in Nigeria, in the history of Nigeria, when we look into Nigeria and the British, there are lots that is embedded in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are lots that is embedded. So in which some people, and then we might not really understand.
Of course.
So it's only the elders who are there then and who participated in most of these will really understand what really happens.
That's very true, the transition, because like no one can know everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of Nigerians I pick up, a lot of them seem to say when the elders have got so much control, and they feel that when their times come, the younger generation hopefully will be patriotic. But that could be difficult because elders have heirs, they have family, and a lot of the time that torch can be passed down to generation to generation.
Yes.
But hopefully that's not the case.
As we know that whatever we are doing today, we are passing it to the coming generation.
Yeah, the citizens.
Our children are learning from us.
Yes.
So if you are doing something very bad, that means you actually passed something bad to the children. They will be more worse than you when they come on power.
So possibly.
Like I'm saying that during those times, during those eras, in the ages, the politicians then they have a good heart, good intention of serving people.
Okay.
And we have majority of them now today, they don't have this intention any longer.
Sadly.
Yeah. So this is because as the generation is coming down to this time, so the intention has been deteriorating.
Yes.
So it's getting worse, getting more bad, sadly for Nigeria. And this is this is majority of things that is causing the problem today. As we say, we have mentioned Emefiele, that he stole some money from the government purse. We still have a lot of them. Even some of them are even hiding under the present government so that they will not be investigated. As soon as the immediate, there is one governor, immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello. He was being alleged of stealing 80 billion naira from the state purse.
Wow.
And he was picked up by the EFCC and was taken to court. immediately he left the office. We have a lot of them, a lot of governors. They embezzled the money. But now we are talking about governors that embezzle the money. Then this is what we are talking about Tinubu, that when he was the governor, he left money in the purse of government purse. He generated money for them. When Tinubu was the governor, Obasanjo was the president. And in Lagos State, he created extra local government. That is local council, local development council. He named them. And the president supposed to fund him to finance that. The president stopped the finance, and he managed and pay all the expenses himself. He generated the money from state revenue. He extend the revenues in the state, and then enlarges it, and then generates more money, and then he sponsors all this himself. And this
very interesting.
Very interesting. This has been what he has been doing. I believe before he came into the government as Nigerian president, the loan of Nigeria is I know, if I don't know the actual figure, I know he has paid a lot by reducing our loan, Nigerian loan today.
What is Nigerian's deficit?
Nigeria is in deficit. So
what's the number?
I might not know the actual number.
But he's reduced it though.
But he reduced it. He's paying it off.
Interesting.
He's paying it off. Nigeria owes to China and then IMF, the likes. So World Bank, and he's reducing our deficits. So these are part of development. This another thing we should mention is he talked about the refineries. Refineries in the country, and he has been doing it, and then they have started to functioning. We still pray, hope that he will still continue to do more better.
Is this the oil refineries or
oil refineries in Nigeria?
And you're saying under Tinubu they're improving?
Under Tinubu, it has been working very well. They have improved nicely.
Is there anything else you want to highlight about Tinubu or anything else? Before I want to mention Ghana, just regards it being Nigeria's neighbour, and a lot of investors and tourists feel safer at the moment going to Ghana. Let's say property investment. You'd have a lot of, my sister was telling me a lot of Americans have been going to Ghana for a while. You'd have a lot of British now going and buying property. I understand it's a lot smaller, but what I'm trying to convey is at the moment with some people, there seems to be more of a trust issue with Ghana, and I understand that. I think the president had an issue with corruption and he solved it, but that being said, it's a much smaller country, but the outcome is that a lot of more people are willing to go to Ghana, and hopefully Nigeria can be the same in future, where people want to go to Nigeria and invest.
A lot of people are coming into Nigeria already. So
when in context, so let's say property investments.
Property investment in Nigeria is something that is greatly improving.
Great.
So
what areas?
Most especially is in the west, in the southwest of Nigeria.
Where's that?
Lagos State.
Lagos State.
Lagos State.
So that's a booming property market.
I'm telling you.
Lekki
is
Victoria
part of it.
Island.
Victoria Island. So
very affluent, and you need a lot of money.
Areas. Yes. So Nigerian, if you invest in Nigeria in real estate or property investment, it's a very good business. In Nigeria, and it's really appreciate a lot. When Tinubu came into the office, the very first year, he's busy campaigning and then inviting people from all over the world to come and invest in Nigeria. And you will see a lot of turnout from different countries, from Indian, from China, and American, and some other country. People turn out and then come down to Nigeria, and they are making investment. He tried to look into the policies that guide the economy. and then invest in that resists investors as well. So it tried to change some of the policies to make it adaptable, to make it habitable for them, so that they can settle and then they can be comfortable
Okay.
with their businesses. So in businesses are moving down, and then they are making a lot of investments in Nigeria, and they are making a lot of money in there.
Okay.
They are making a lot of. I believe there is good progress, improvement in economic turnover in Nigeria this time.
No, definitely. And it will only get better.
Yeah.
And I think Nigeria in a lot of Africa is at the center of
Yeah.
it all for this growth
Yeah.
and this progress. So it's good to hear positive stories like that. For you, is there anybody else, because you said Tinubu is aging,
Yeah.
so is there anybody who you think when it's time for him to move on, who would you like, an up and coming politician who in your words is patriotic
Yeah.
for Nigeria?
Yeah. You see, when Tinubu and when we have Tinubu, we have Peter Obi and we have Atiku Abubakar. I believe Tinubu is among them. Is only because Peter Obi is young.
Okay.
So, but Tinubu is more experienced and more better than any of them.
Okay.
He got the experience,
Okay.
and then he have the strength of leading the country. And
Okay.
he's economically wise as well.
Okay.
So we believe he is going to move Nigeria forward.
Okay.
So if we do his own part and then leave, we still have a lot of Nigerians who are very patriotic.
Okay.
We have a lot of them. If I started mentioning, these are the people I know personally.
Yeah.
So another set of people will still come over, and then when they come out, we will see their personality. Already, when we look into their profile, we will know them.
Okay.
So
okay.
so it's something that is glaring to every Nigerian.
Okay. So there's a lot of positive politicians.
Yeah, we have a lot
that
of
are patriotic
that are patriotic
and
in
want
Nigeria.
change and have got
Yes.
Nigeria.
We still got them.
More
We still got
importantly, the people of Nigeria.
them. We still got them.
Because, like you said, politicians should save the people.
Yes.
And because of greed, that's why the whole world is in a mess.
Yes.
So it's good to advocate and hope for them type of politicians.
Yeah.
Same in the UK. We have the,
Yeah.
obviously it's different in contrast to Nigeria, but we still have a political system. And I think not many people will engage with the political system in the UK because they feel it's not worth it. But I think if we want change, we've got to engage.
Exactly. Exactly. That is what is happening in Nigeria.
As
A lot
difficult
of
as it
youth,
is.
they don't want to go into it because they think it is very dirty game.
Yes.
So, and it's going to dent their image as well. So they don't want to go in, and they have the ability of turning things over. They can turn it to something very better, but they
In
don't
what
want
way?
to go into. So
Oh, politics, if they
yes,
got involved.
if they got involved in politics.
But if they don't, or if people don't in general,
If they don't, things will not get better.
exactly, as difficult it is, I have this conversation.
Exactly.
People are disillusioned and feel that it's a done deal, it's a dirty game. But I feel if 1 million, 5, 10 million, obviously Nigeria is a lot bigger, but if 100 million went to the polls,
Yeah.
I think that's powerful than 10 million.
Yeah.
And the same in the UK,
Yeah.
the turnout is very low. And I feel if 1 million people signed a petition, or 1 million people voted, or X amount of million people, that applies pressure to politicians.
Yeah.
But ultimately, without a political solution, like anarchism, I don't believe in anarchism.
No.
There's small pockets of countries in the world, even in Africa, who will survive off anarchism. I don't mean anarchism in chaos. You will have agreements between local people,
Yeah.
and you sort out things between yourselves.
Yes.
Most people in the world, they need to be led.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the nature.
Yeah,
So
sadly.
by that understanding, it's important for people to engage in the political process.
What I would just wish our younger people, the youth, get engaged in politics. But we have youth of good mind.
Yes.
So when they go into the politics, they can serve and they can do very better. But we still have youth of these ages who, when they got in there, they will still make things worse than before. So, but we still have the good ones.
Of course.
that will go in there, and then they have the strength. They can, like Traore now is doing very nice in Africa. I think
Yes.
a lot of people are even praising him. And
Yeah.
he was doing very nice.
Even
So,
I seen an article, something's
Yeah.
happening in Nigeria. I forgot the location, and they're blaming the French. I don't know the facts,
Yeah.
but they're blaming the French for having influence, like in Burkina.
Okay.
Now I don't know the ins and outs, but it goes back to what we were saying before.
Yeah.
There could be some scenarios where you've got Western multinational companies
Yes.
calling the shots.
Yes.
So
yes.
I don't know enough about it to comment.
Yeah,
But no, it's been a great discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just before, do you want to say anything before we bring it to the close? Are you okay?
Yes,
Ben?
I'm fine. I
Yeah.
think-
Just one final thing I'd like to say is this podcast is called Taxi Podcast.
Yeah.
And it's about perspectives, and I think too many people get basically challenged by certain perspectives and beliefs, when ultimately I think having a certain level of higher, like, developed consciousness, you should be able to respect anyone's belief system as long as it's not harming anyone.
Yeah.
And welcome it, if anything. And if you don't like that perspective, then it's good for you to put your own perspective across in a respectful, peaceful way. Like discourse, I like to use discourse because debate, someone wants to be the winner.
Yeah,
And I find that when you have discussions and it's like a debate, they're just not constructive or productive.
Yeah.
So I just like to look at discourse, and what we've just had is a powerful exchange of perspectives. Obviously I don't live in Nigeria, but I still take an interest in it. So yeah, thanks Ben for coming on and giving his perspective, and hopefully Nigeria prospers and continues making the progress so many people are talking about, including Ben.
I the last thing I had is I wish Nigeria become very great, even more than the American as it is today. So that is where I'm wishing my country, Nigeria, to be.
And I'm sure most Nigerians will wish the same.
I wish God bless Nigeria for us as well.
Yeah, thanks. Brilliant little discussion. Gonna bring it to the close.
Yeah.